All right, hey there, fellow explorers. Welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're taking a look at something pretty fundamental, I think you'll agree light. But, and here's the twist we're going beyond just the, everyday light we see. We're diving into the idea of light as, well, a tool, really. A tool for creation itself. And for making choices, believe it or not. And all of this, as always, is going to be filtered through the lens of the law of one material.
Yeah, that's it. We're kind of going beyond like just the basic idea of light as something that helps you see, right? Like the light bulb in your room.
Yeah.
This is more about seeing light as the energetic foundation of, well, pretty much everything we experience. It's the stuff that makes up this whole reality show, you could say.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that helps us on our journey, spiritually speaking. You might remember that quote from Ra. They said, "Light is the means by which the experience of this density may be generated." And that right there, I mean, that opens up a whole universe of things to explore.
It really does. And exploring is what we're all about, right? So today we're going to try to unpack how this fundamental light, this energy is actually what creation is made of, how it gives us the power to choose things, how it's totally crucial to our spiritual evolution, and even how it connects the stuff we think of as just physical, like, gravity. But let's start with the basics. The Law of One talks about light as the third distortion of the one infinite creator. So what's that all about? What does that tell us about light's place in the big picture of, well, everything?
Well, I think it means we got to look back at what the creator, what that infinite creator was doing at the very beginning. Like, what were the first impulses? And the first one, the first distortion is free will. That's like saying every part of the creator has this total freedom to experience things however it wants, to be unique. And then the second distortion, that's love. And love is all about, connection, about everything being linked together. And so what happens is love kind of focuses all of that infinite potential that comes from free will. When that happens, boom, you get light. Light is like the energy, the stuff that makes creation like actually exist and be something we can, see and feel and experience. It's the way that original desire to just be and to connect, it's how that desire becomes like real. So the big takeaway here is that, creation isn't just some random thing. It's built on this foundation of freedom of connection, and then that connection becoming like actual energy, and that energy is light.
Okay, I think I'm getting that. So love is like the intention behind everything, and light is the material that intention uses to actually build stuff, to build reality. It's almost like, I don't know, like love is the architect and light is like the building blocks.
You got that. That's a really good way to put it. Love provides the focus, the energy, and then light becomes the actual like substance of it all, the stuff that the whole drama of creation plays out on. There's even a line in the material where Ra says, "Love uses light and has the power to direct light in its distortions." And that really points to how active love is in like shaping and molding light into all the different forms and ways it shows up.
It's almost like some people describe it as divine clay, like love is molding this clay, this light into different shapes, and then we come along with our free will, and we're kind of like sculpting our own little part of that clay, our own little experience within that big, luminous, framework. I don't know, it really changes the way you think about what reality is.
It totally does.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this clay, it's not just sitting there. The material makes it really clear that light is, well, it's dynamic. It's constantly spiraling. It's not just going outwards. It's moving in what they call a straight line spiral. And what's really interesting about that is that it means there's this built-in upward movement to light. It's like everything's always heading towards greater beingness, just by the very nature of how light works. So it's not like growing and evolving is optional. It's like it's built into the system. We're all on this escalator, whether we realize it or not.
So this spiraling nature of light, it's kind of like an invisible current that's always pushing us or pulling us, I guess, towards evolution, towards becoming more aware.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to think of it. It's like the energetic highway of progress. And when you understand that, it gives you this whole new perspective on something we think of as totally normal. Gravity. Like we think of gravity as this force that pulls us down to the earth, right?
Right.
But the material talks about spiritual gravity too. And they describe it as the pressing towards the inner light love, the seeking towards the spiral line of light which progresses towards the creator.
So wait, so it's not just about being pulled down, it's also about this yearning we have, this pull towards like connecting with our own inner spark, that divine part of ourselves. And ultimately being pulled back to the source of everything. And does this mean that when we make choices that are loving or when we like remember that we're all connected, does that make this spiritual gravity stronger? Like do we feel that pull more?
Exactly. Yeah. Every time we choose love, every time we act in a way that acknowledges that we're all part of this one big thing,
Yeah.
it's like taking another step up that spiral. It makes that connection to our source stronger, more real.
I love the way the material describes it. Like, it's not just that we're randomly going through life, just a bunch of random events. It's like we're on this purposeful journey and we're being pulled upwards. And our choices, they're like fuel for that journey.
I love that. And then there's this whole idea of densities being like different frequencies of this light, right? That's one of those things that
Right.
can get kind of abstract. How can we wrap our minds around that? Light, yeah, it's one of the things you got to kind of feel your way into. But the way the material explains it is that each density, like each level of spiritual evolution, it's like a specific frequency of light. Like, how on your radio you've got all those different stations and each one's got its own frequency. It's kind of like that. Each density is like a different station vibrating at a specific frequency. And the cool thing is, these frequencies, they're not just random, they're quantized. That means they exist at specific levels, not just like a smooth, continuous thing. And get this, these frequencies, they're also connected to our chakras, the energy centers in our bodies.
Mhm.
And they even correspond to different colors. So basically, when we talk about spiritual progress, we're really talking about like tuning ourselves to higher and higher frequencies of this fundamental light.
So it's like we're fine tuning an instrument, right? Like we're constantly adjusting our own energy, trying to get it to vibrate in harmony with those higher frequencies. And that's how we move up, how we evolve. That's a really cool image. But hold on, all this light, all this vibrating energy, it eventually turns into like the physical stuff we see and touch, right? Like how does that happen?
You got it.
Yeah.
The material explains it like this. First, love creates this vibration in what they call space-time. And that's basically, our everyday physical reality. And this vibration, it creates the photon. That's like the most basic particle of light. So when you get right down to it, all matter, everything we see and touch, it's basically condensed light, all organized and structured by love. And that just blows my mind because it means that Ray was totally right when they said, you are not a part of the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself. We're all like literally made of the same stuff.
Yeah.
We are the universe.
And that brings us to the veil, right? Because if we're all like fundamentally connected through this light, why does it feel like we're so separate, so individual?
Right. The veil, it's like this filter, this
Mhm.
metaphysical filter that creates the illusion of being separate. Like we forget we're all connected and we start thinking we're these individual little consciousnesses
Yeah.
all on our own. But the thing is, the veil isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's really important for free will and for us to grow spiritually. Because think about it. If we were constantly experiencing this pure, undifferentiated light all the time, there wouldn't be any choice. We wouldn't be able to learn from contrast, from experiencing opposites. The veil lets us perceive light in a distorted way so that we can choose to seek out the real, the pure light.
So all the challenges we go through, all the stuff that happens to us, what the material calls catalysts, it's like that's all part of the plan, right?
Mm.
Because it forces us to grow, to learn. And it's this catalyst combined with that constant flow of spiritual energy, of light, that creates our experiences, the stuff we need to evolve our souls.
Exactly. Right. I said, all that assaults your senses is catalyst. And when that catalyst mixes with light, that's when the magic happens. It's like the veil takes this pure light and turns it into what they call teachable shadows. It's like we're given this puzzle to solve, this sacred puzzle, and the goal is to find the light, even when everything seems dark and difficult.
And it's our choices, right? The decisions we make every day, and also the deeper desires of our souls, even the ones we might not be aware of. That's how we interact with this veiled light, how we try to solve that puzzle.
You got it. Choice is everything. It's like the tool we use to sculpt the light. We're constantly shaping our reality, whether we realize it or not, by choosing what we focus on, what we think about, how we act. And all this undifferentiated light, it flows through our chakras, through those energy centers, and each chakra kind of puts its own spin on it, Like it's like light shining through different colored lenses, and that creates our unique experiences.
And all along, we've got our higher self helping us, guiding us through all this, right?
Right, yeah. The higher self is like this wise being that exists in what they call the mid-sixth density. And it's like totally unified. It understands both polarities, positive and negative. It's got this big picture view of our whole journey. And it's always there, designing lessons for us, using both light and catalyst, challenges and all that. Like, it's like having a map where you know the destination, but you get to choose which roads you take to get there. And your higher self is like, the map maker.
Yeah.
It knows the best route, but it totally respects your freedom to choose your own way.
Okay, so now let's talk about the magical personality. This is one of those things that sounds, well, kind of magical, but how does it actually work? How do we connect with that and use it to work with light more intentionally?
Right. The magical personality is basically when you align yourself with, or even like partially embody, your higher self. And people do this through different spiritual practices, meditation, rituals, that kind of thing. And when you do this, when you create that alignment, it's like building a bridge between our everyday reality, what they call space-time, and higher dimensions, the time-space realm. And that's where the higher self hangs out, where time and space work differently. And that bridge lets us pull down those higher frequencies of light into our experience. And a lot of this starts with working with the indigo ray, which is all about spiritual vision, intuition, being able to see the truth of things. And the key to making this work is to have pure desire and polarized intent. That means you got to be crystal clear about what you want, and it's got to be about serving others or seeking knowledge, Like your intention has got to be aligned with that higher purpose.
So it's not just about doing some rituals or chanting some words, right? It's about inner alignment, about being in harmony with your higher self and having that really clear service-oriented intention. That's what makes it work.
Exactly. Techniques and stuff, they don't really work unless you've got that inner resonance, that clarity of purpose.
Yeah.
The real power comes from your will, your desire to serve, to learn, to grow. And that actually brings us to healing, because in this framework, healing isn't really about fixing something that's broken. It's more about aligning your energy with that fundamental light, that universal energy.
Right, like getting back into harmony with the natural state of things. And there are people, crystallized healers who can help with that, right? They're like channels for this healing energy.
Yeah, exactly. They're like these clear conduits for that intelligent, loving energy.
Mm.
And they can help people realign with that energy to remember that that's their natural state, their true self. But the thing is, the material is really clear about this. Real healing, lasting healing, it always comes down to choice.
Mm.
The person who wants to be healed, they have to choose it.
They have to choose to be in alignment with that light, to let it flow through them. That makes sense. And it often starts in the indigo ray, right? That's like the gateway to those higher realms, to that infinite intelligence. And the healing can happen there in time-space before it even shows up in our physical bodies. Like it's already done energetically before we even see it in our everyday reality.
That's right. It's like some of those miraculous healings we hear about, it's like the person just like remembered who they really are. They remembered that they're already whole. They got back in sync with that divine light.
And that brings us back to spiritual gravity, doesn't it? That pull towards the light, towards the creator. It's like our souls have this built-in compass that's always pointing us home.
Exactly. And it's not passive, It's like we're actively seeking being drawn towards that unity, that wholeness. The more we choose love, the more we act in ways that align with the light, the stronger that pull gets. It's like our soul just knows where it belongs, and it's always trying to get back there.
And finally, let's talk about sacred geometry. Pyramids, cones, crystals, all that stuff. How does that all fit into this picture of light being this fundamental tool and force?
So sacred geometry, it's like the architecture of light energy. It's how light is structured and organized. Those shapes, the pyramids, the cones, they're not random,
Yeah.
They're designed to focus and amplify that spiraling energy of light. And crystals, they're like frozen light. They've got this really ordered structure that can like direct and focus the light. And people use them for healing, for raising consciousness, all kinds of stuff. But here's the thing. The material warns us about using these tools without the right preparation, without being spiritually balanced and having pure intentions. Because these shapes, they're amplifiers, right? So if your intention is messed up, if you're not aligned with love and service, you could actually amplify those negative energies, and that's not good.
So it's like with any powerful tool, you got to know what you're doing. It's not enough to just build a pyramid or wear a crystal and expect miracles. You got to do the inner work too, Get your intention straight. Get yourself aligned with that higher purpose.
You said it. It all comes back to that inner alignment. The tools can help, but the real work is always on the inside.
All right, so let's bring it all home. Light, it's so much more than just what we see with our eyes, right? It's the foundation of everything, the building block of creation itself. It's shaped by love, and it gives us the power to choose our reality. It's the energy that fuels our spiritual evolution, and it's the force that's constantly pulling us back to the source. And the coolest part is, we're not just along for the ride, you know? We're actively involved in shaping this light, in creating our own reality with every choice we make.
That's it. That's the big takeaway. We're co-creators, you know? We're not just passive observers. We're shaping the world around us and the world within us with every thought, every feeling, every action.
That's a pretty powerful thought. And it makes you wonder, what kind of reality are we choosing to create? What kind of world are we building, both for ourselves and for everyone else? And if we feel that pull, that spiritual gravity, what can we do to align ourselves with it more? What steps can we take to shine our own inner light even brighter? Lots to think about there. Thanks for diving deep with us today. Keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep shining your light, everyone. We'll see you next time.